DPI World Report, Episode 9. Japan. Water, industry, and the limits of continuous systems. Japan does not have a water shortage. There is a systems problem. From the outside, Japan looks water secure. An island nation, regular rainfall, extensive infrastructure. But the implementation era doesn't care what a place looks like. It cares how systems behave under continuous load. And Japan is one of the most tightly coupled systems on Earth. Here, water is not managed as a resource. It is managed as throughput. It moves constantly through industry, energy, transport, and cities. There is very little slack, very little pause, very little tolerance for interruption. This episode is not about scarcity. It is about limits. Hawaii asked a different question. Hawaii asked whether systems can remember, whether long-horizon custodianship can stabilize volatility. Japan represents the opposite condition. A system optimized for speed, density, and continuity. A system that works exceptionally well until conditions shift faster than the system can adapt. In Japan, water moves through everything. Cooling power stations, supporting heavy manufacturing, maintaining ports, refineries, logistics hubs, and cities built directly against the coast. Water is embedded in production itself. That means every fluctuation matters. Not because water disappears, but because timing, temperature, and tolerance change. Japan is not water poor, but it is space poor. Industry, infrastructure, and population sit on top of one another. There are no wide buffer zones, no room for graceful failure. When something goes wrong, effects propagate immediately. In this kind of system, infrastructure becomes governance. Decisions are not made primarily in policy documents. They are made in design thresholds, in pipe diameters, in pump capacity, in cooling tolerances, in how much variance a system can absorb before it must shut down. These choices encode priorities. What is protected first? What can be sacrificed? What must never stop? Redundancy exists, but it is not free. Backup systems consume land, capital, energy, maintenance. Every layer of resilience adds weight. And in a dense system, weight accumulates quickly. This is why failure is not optional. Japan's industrial systems are built for continuous operation. Stopping is expensive. Restarting is worse. So adaptation must happen while systems are running. That is a far harder problem than building new systems from scratch. Volatility makes this more difficult. Japan's challenge is not drought alone. It is volatility interacting with throughput. Heavier rainfall events, hotter periods, rising coastal risk. The system must absorb shocks without stopping. Flood protection infrastructure sits directly beside factories. Pumping stations protect production zones. Barriers, gates, and channels are engineered to hold. This is not emergency response. This is normal operation. Energy reveals the coupling most clearly. Power generation depends on cooling water. Water temperature matters. Flow rate matters. Timing matters. Energy and water are inseparable, which means capital is inseparable too. High-throughput systems attract investment, but they also expose it. Downtime prices risk faster than regulation does. Markets react before policy catches up. That pressure forces systems to adapt early, often quietly, often expensively. This is where governance is tested. Under load, only measured performance matters. Not plans, not narratives, not intent, outcomes. This is the Veritas question. Do systems behave as promised when conditions change? Early warning matters here. Postmortems are too late for continuous systems. Detection must happen at the edges, in the field, in real time. Not annually, not after failure. This is where digital public infrastructure becomes relevant. Not as software, but as coordination. As the ability to align signals, thresholds, and response across complex systems before drift becomes damage. But even optimization has limits. You can refine systems, you can add efficiency, you can harden infrastructure. Eventually, redesign replaces optimization, and redesign costs accumulate quietly. Concrete replaces flexibility. Capital replaces time. Maintenance replaces margin. The most advanced systems are often the closest to their limits, not because they are weak, but because they have already used most of their options. Japan shows us the frontier of the implementation era, a place where systems work, where governance is embedded in infrastructure, where adaptation is constant, not optional, and where the central question is no longer whether systems can be built, but whether systems built for speed, density, and scale can adapt without stopping, because the next systems we examine operate under the same pressures with far less margin.